Welcome to Just Beachy with Deb
and Wendy.
Growing up in the 70s in our Toronto Beach neighborhood was a time unlike any other. Bell-bottom pants, high handlebars and banana seats, water buffalo sandals, crazy adventures, and home with the streetlights. We have lots of stories to share.
So sit back and join us as we reminisce about the people and the times that shaped our lives. Welcome to Just Beachy with Deb and Wendy. Won't you join us today?
That was wonderful, Wendy. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I have to work on it.
The musical stylings of Wendy Beaton.
Need one of those things to start, like in music class where it was like that tuning thing.
A pitch pipe.
Ooh, yeah, that's it.
A pitch pipe.
I can see Miss Mosley at Balmy Beach in grade 6 using this to tune us up for a song.
Well, we had Pitch Pipe Pete and Modulator Maud. I was in 14 choirs in grade 7, I think.
Time is just going by here, and summer's basically done, and people back to work and school, and highways will be crowded again. Thank goodness I work 10 minutes from work in Guelph, so
I work from home.
I don't have to deal with any of that. Man.
I know. I went to Michael's a couple of days ago, and all of their Halloween stuff is out. All the Halloween stuff you can imagine, and it kind of catapulted me forward in time, and I'm thinking, I'm going to be doing Halloween weddings and thinking about all the wonderful things I want to do for, attracting people to have the experience. We have so much fun. And then on the other aisle was all the Thanksgiving things and the autumn colors, and I'm thinking, no, in my mind I'm going, no. Because
I went to my favorite place, Spring Ridge Farms. If ever you're in the Milton area, it's off down Highway 20 on Bell School Line. It's a farm. They do activities with kids. It's a bakery. It's a gift shop. It's a great place, and you feel like you're out in the country because where it is, it's right behind the escarpment. And I was there yesterday for the first time in a long time because when I go, I spend too much money. So they're kind of working out of getting rid of summer and bringing in fall, and it's just so pretty. And my apartment basically is outfitted with a lot of stuff I bought from Spring Ridge over the years. But a little shout out for Spring Ridge because look it up, Spring Ridge Farms, and you'll love it. Their bakery is amazing. They have pickled stuff. It's just, you have to go.
I actually saw a sign for them when I was coming back from my Caledon wedding the other day in the pouring rain.
It's worth the trip.
It's beautiful country too. I love it. Caledon. I had forgotten how much I love Caledon. And the whole ride home, I kind of took the long way home and got lost, and it was fun.
I have to do that sometimes.
Intuitive driving. Where am I now? I don't care.
There's Google Maps.
But there's no Tim's. There was no coffee shops. I went through, is it Bell Fountain? In deepest, darkest Caledon, they had coffee shops. I could have stopped and had a coffee, in one of these little rural, beautiful little places. But I held out till Acton. I got my coffee there. And then I thought, I guess I should start heading south. And I did. But by the time I got to the highway, it was like driving rain, and the transports going by were kicking up all the water, and I'm thinking, this is not fun. I got to get home now.
Yeah.
But yes, so it's hung in with us this long. Thank you all.
Yes.
Hope you visited our Facebook page, Just Beachy with Deb and Wendy, and it's just look it up on Facebook. We're going to be starting I was going to say Intergram. I don't know how to do these things yet. Instagram. It connects with my Facebook page. I apparently have 3 accounts on Instagram. I don't know how I did that. One is the Angel Ladies, but it's like, where am I? Because they all show different feeds.
I know some things I post on Facebook goes to Instagram, and I don't know why. Some does
graphics.
Yeah, maybe.
And I joined Threads recently, so maybe that's where the text goes. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. I haven't even
notice,
tried Threads, so.
Oh, I don't know. It's like But I'm off Twitter altogether. I have
Off
deleted.
X.
Yeah, X, sorry. Whatever it's called, I'm off of it.
That's probably not a bad thing. I should do the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah. So you'll find us in a lot of places like iTunes and Spotify and Deezer. I don't know Deezer, but we're on there.
I
And
didn't even know
Amazon
that.
Music.
News
Yeah,
to me.
hey. and several other little platforms that I've never heard of. But we're all over the map. And, of course, our YouTube channel.
Yes.
So march on over to Facebook and you'll see pictures and you can share your memories. If anything we talk about kind of hits home or you want to share a picture, make it clean, no nudity. And we won't show it. And, it's just fun. We're having a ball. We're having a blast.
Yes.
We're drinking tonight.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. We don't need a lot to get us a little bit giddy. So
No. Nope.
So we were talking about remembering when, and one of the most significant events of our lives was when our father died. I was 15, and you were
9. And our brothers would have been 11 and 5. January 5th, 1971.
It's burned in our brains. That happens, I'm sure you've experienced this with people, significant people you've lost. That anniversary date is just so hard. And even now, 52 years later? Where are we, 53? It's impossible. He's been deceased longer than he was alive with us.
Yes.
And but it's still so vibrant. It's still so real. We were talking about it before we spoke, just the day that we got told, and it was very sudden, very, very sudden. So after he died, we met a whole new cast of people that came to support us and our widowed mom, and we thought we might talk about them a little bit tonight.
Yeah. And such wonderful people that you can't help but have happy, fond memories of them. They were just so, not to sound melodramatic or whatever, but they were so pure of heart. And they truly cared, and they made sure that we weren't without anything.
That's right.
Right?
I mean, our grandparents were the backbone, but Dad had an amazing family that we didn't really know because he grew up in Cape Breton and they were all down east. And because he became an Anglican, left the Roman Catholic faith, they prayed for his eternal soul. That was a real rift in the 50s. And so we lost touch with a lot of his people. But when he died, a lot of reconciliation happened with Mom and people coming forward to look after her. Because they loved Dad that much, I'll never forget the funeral. We knew him, his dad. I knew he was the president of the union, and, he was a good guy. Everybody knew him, Joe, right? From the guy that took his pants up to the cleaners to press to, all the local stores. You go around with him, and he always had a joke, and he always was light of heart. He was a good man.
He could talk to anyone.
He could talk to anyone.
And I think you and I have that gift too. Like, we can talk to anyone.
We're pretty chatty. So, yeah.
And
friendly. We're friendly. Yeah, he was very friendly. And he was very accepting. Yeah. He was a, open-hearted kind of guy. So when we were remembering the people that came into our lives at the funeral, I remembered there were like 300 people there. And this is just our dad. And we have a little slice of knowing who he is and what he's about. And 300 people, and they're all hugging us that we've never met before, and they're all crying, and
I don't even think I knew what death was. Like, Dad was the first death I ever encountered, and I was 9, and I don't think I could fathom what was going on at the time.
No, it's overwhelming, and for Mom too, who
was 40.
We had a party.
She was only 40, right?
Yeah, she's 41. Yeah, 41, having long gone by there. It's not very old at all, with 4 kids and no outside job. She was an at-home mom. Mm-hmm. We lived on mother's allowance, which was teeny, and I stayed up many late nights trying to figure out finances with her. And God bless Grandma and Grampy who helped her out, and making slippers at Christmas. But I mean, we were poor. There's no question. And once I got old enough to do a part-time job, and the rest of us, we helped contribute to the family.
But we were never. She never made us feel poor. At least I never felt poor. All I know is it wasn't until I was in my God, late teens, early 20s, that you could actually eat broccoli and cauliflower without a cream sauce. But I think she made that to fill us up.
Yeah.
The cream sauce added to,
Yeah.
to our bellies, right? So we didn't feel hungry.
Yeah.
And
She was a master at stretching things.
Yeah.
We had spaghetti a lot.
yeah, cream chicken on toast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And
Yeah.
4 kids with big appetites. And, she did, I give her props. She looked after us well.
She did.
But total shock. I mean, massive heart attack. The night before, all the neighbors had been over. It was just after New Year's, and they're having a card party, and the kids
First
were
day back to school after the Christmas holidays.
That's right. Yeah, it was it was a shock to the whole neighborhood because he was beloved. So after after his funeral, and it wasn't that his brothers came up from Cape Breton, so we met a lot of people that we hadn't seen ever, really. Uncle Harry, who was a Redemptorist priest. So there's a guy there in a cassock with a collar on. I'm like, who's that? And Uncle Kid, who was a high school principal in Antigonish. And
we did know Uncle Rory because he did come up prior to Dad's passing.
That's right. He was one of 5 brothers.
The summer before.
Yeah, we got pictures, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the brothers came up. He was one of 5 brothers, and they adopted a girl because back in the Depression days, our grandmother needed help with looking after this group of men.
Because our grandfather, Dad's dad, died. I thought it was a coal mine cave-in in Cape Breton, but actually it was just one rock, basically, a cave-in right over him.
Oh.
Yeah, so it was just him that died, and he was only 28 years old at the time. And Dad, I think, was 18 months.
He wasn't very old. Yeah.
No.
He was the youngest boy.
Yeah. So I always thought it was a cave-in, but just for him, unfortunately.
Wow.
Yeah. And I found that out through Ancestry.com, I think.
Yeah, we've been working on our family trees independently. And it's you get to a certain point, then you get international, and you think, I don't really want to pay that much money. So,
but the people that came in though, after kind of the dust settled, I guess it was, as Deb said, a cast of characters. There was Fritz from Dad's work, and he would come and visit and bring willow pack boxes of chocolates, the macaroons, the slow pokes. You can see the box, and they don't make them anymore. But he would come and just make sure we were okay. And then Helen,
he was Dad's best friend.
Yeah, lovely man. Then Helen, another coworker, she would stop in on a Friday afternoon, and she lived in the beach actually, and she would deliver us Kentucky Fried Chicken for dinner. She had done that maybe once a month. She would stop in and bring us a treat like that.
Yeah, have a little visit, make sure everybody's okay.
Yeah. I still see her sitting at the kitchen table and making sure Mom's okay, and but then the relatives that we didn't know about. The best. And I remember, Kay and Zuzu.
Oh,
man. Zuzu was quiet.
How were they related?
I think he was Dad's cousin, but Kay was Zuzu's wife.
Yeah.
And she was psychic.
4'7".
Oh,
she was teeny. Yeah, and extroverted.
Yeah.
And she was very psychic. She was very sensitive.
Yeah, she was amazing. She I remember in my teen years, probably late teen years, I was dating a gentleman with the initials BB, and she didn't know that. And we were at Graham's house that night, and she was visiting Mom, Graham, and I, and Zuzu must have been there because I don't think she went anywhere without Zuzu.
No. His real name was Al. His real name was Al.
Zuzu, Al, I don't know. But we're sitting in the kitchen, and she's giving us readings, and she told me I was going to marry a man with the initials BB, and I'm thinking, I don't think so. But 2 years later, I married a man named Bruce Beaton, so go figure.
Yeah.
And she always told my mom she was going to remarry, and it was going to be to someone that she knew a long time ago. And my mom, she just scoffed.
She couldn't hear it. She couldn't hear it.
She's like, there's no way I'm ever going to remarry. Didn't matter how many years my dad had been gone at that point. It was just like, no. But lo and behold, Clyde Strong, someone
Yep.
she knew in Dartmouth, who was
And was engaged to.
who was a sailor, and my grandparents forbade the engagement. He came back into my mom's life, I guess in 81, and they married in 82. June of 82.
Was it that soon? And with that story,
And he lived out west at the time, too.
Yes, that's right. When Clyde contacted Mom, he'd been married twice before. He loved her and always wanted to be with her and have her, in his life. So he never got over her. And the women that he married kind of looked like her. So he knew that she was a nurse. And so he calls the Ontario Nursing Association, and one of my very best friends got the call because she worked there. And he said, I'm looking for Eileen Roach. And she said, okay.
I did not know this story.
Yes. She said, does she have a family? And he said, I don't know. It's been so long. I don't even know where she is. I don't know if she's married. And she said, I think I know who you mean. And so she connected them. And I guess privacy rules weren't in effect back then because she gave him our number and he phoned. And it was like having a mother turn into a teenager. It was,
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. It was, get a room, you two. But
She was smitten. Oh my God.
She was smitten because she loved him.
And what, she would have been 55?
Yeah. Maybe a little bit younger.
82.
I think it was 7 years. 7 years after Dad died.
No, she wasn't in her 40s.
Oh,
yeah.
maybe that's when she started back to work. I don't know. I'm getting my dates all. I've had too much
It
wine.
was quite a while. But Kay saw that, and Kay used to read her tea leaves too.
That was fun.
Yeah.
I don't
was
remember
amazing.
anything she ever told me. I think
She was fascinating. She was so
she's
great.
a very kind woman. And so she'd come in and she'd be ready to read. Like that was her way of, I guess, a gift for us or something.
Mm-hmm.
But she'd come in the door and she'd go, hi, hon, how you doing? That was always her line. Hi, hon. I always thought she was Jewish. She had that kind of, New York lilt. But she was just a sweet, sweet woman.
Oh.
And
then there was Uncle Wilbur, who
Uncle
was
Wilbur.
Dad's
He was not
cousin.
our uncle.
No, he would have been her cousin, but he was her dad's age, so we called him Uncle.
Yes.
But the story behind Uncle Wilbur was, like, my mom and dad met at
the Maritime Club.
A Maritime Club on Queen Street.
Queen Street, yeah.
And but I think she went with our Uncle Wilbur, and she met our dad.
I don't know where she met Wilbur. That's always been the mystery. Where did she meet him?
That's true.
Yeah.
But anyways,
They're all dead.
so
Who
she
knows?
said goodbye, Wilbur. Hello, Joe.
Yeah, I know. Talk about a fickle date. He didn't hold it against her.
No,
But
I don't.
I think he was always sweet on her. I think he always kind of had a fondness for Mom.
But he was such a nice man, and he came over. I think after, I don't remember seeing a lot of these people before Dad died.
No.
Maybe when we lived at Grandma and Grampy's, because we do have home videos
Yeah.
of Uncle Wilbur and other people upstairs in the living room where we lived.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't remember them at Scarborough Road until after Dad died. But Uncle Wilbur came over like every Friday with this bottle, Mickey, of 5-star whiskey. And
With the plastic star on it.
So he would take off the star and give to one of us. But he would drink the whole thing and then drive home.
Yeah.
Like...
Mom helped him a little bit, but she didn't drink a lot.
No, well, that bottle of sherry was under the sink for a good year or more, right?
Yeah, right. Special occasion with the sherry.
But he would come and bring us treats, obviously. But he found a Scrabble game in the garbage. He worked for the TTC as a janitor. Mm-hmm. And he found it there or he found it in his neighborhood, but he brought it over. And he would play Scrabble because he only had a grade 3 education.
Yeah.
And this taught him how to spell.
Yeah.
But he used to, I remember the drop the money game he used to play with all of us.
He was a bachelor. So he kind of doted on us a bit.
Yeah. But he would drop a $1 bill and we'd have to catch it with our index finger and thumb. And if we caught it, we got to keep it. And one time he dropped it, and I caught it, but he didn't realize it was a 20. and he
back then,
quickly
20 was-
exchanged it for the dollar.
There's a whole lot of money back then.
Yeah, oh my God,
Wow.
$20 back in the 70s? Man, you would
You
have
could have flown somewhere in a plane.
Yeah, really.
It cost like $3 to fill up a Volkswagen back then.
But remember, he used to he'd cross his legs and would stand on his foot, and he'd lift us up and down off the ground.
He didn't
Probably
do that
not
to me.
you.
I was like 15. That would be weird.
Maybe more for Joe
My turn.
or for our younger brother and I. But yeah, that was the thing. But I can remember, like, I think he was our younger brother's godfather. So there was, a bit of favoritism going on there. And I remember he brought this huge green clear plastic, but it was green barrel bank. That was a fair size.
Yeah.
And every time he came, because Uncle Wilbur would keep all his change, he would bring a bag of change to our younger brother to put in. And I can remember once I stole 5 cents out of it and was caught.
Oh, dear.
And got in trouble.
You thief.
Yeah, I know, right? And so I think, but after that, the money stopped because I think my mother said, like, no more. Like,
Well, we would go out in the car with him and go to his little apartment. He had in a rooming house on Roxborough in Rosedale, but it wasn't really like Rosedale back then. And he would have an aquarium, like a fairly large aquarium, no fish, only money. And it was all filled with quarters and change. And when we went to visit, we could put our hand in and with our, take out as much money as our little hand could hold. And he was so generous that way, and it made it fun.
well,
It's like,
and do you remember his Scottish girlfriend, Margaret?
Margaret, yeah.
She
called him Bill. She called him Bill.
Did she? That's right.
Yeah.
And she had like the bouffant hairstyle.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And and I think Mom told us a story that he told her that he knew she was meant for him because he allowed her to do the hand into the aquarium and pulled out as more money than he ever thought was capable to go into a hand.
Cleaned him out. That's a very large aquarium. Of course, we were small.
But do you remember his car? He drove it. Was it a Chevy Nova he had?
I think so.
But
yeah.
he had the plastic covers on the seat.
Yeah,
And in the hot heat of the summer, sitting on that, oh my gosh.
You rip off your skin.
And you couldn't get out. It was a 2-door, so you had to flip the seat
the
up to
front
get
seat,
out of
yeah,
the back,
yeah.
remember? But I can remember him also taking me up to Zellers at Shoppers World Danforth, or Tart Park in Danforth, and we'd go into Zellers, and we could pick any toy that we wanted. And I was into the Midi dolls then, which I actually looked up before this podcast to make sure I was right.
And she still wants them.
Yeah, they were only like 6 inches tall, if that, maybe not even that high. But it's like, now I got to find these things because talk about nostalgia. But yeah, oh my gosh. But no, he was so good. And
He'd take me to Sam the Record Man. I don't know if you guys ever accompanied that trip, but we'd go for a drive and we'd end up on Yonge Street. He knew downtown Toronto so well, living there. And we'd go into Sam's, which was thousands of vinyl albums back then. And he would say, okay, pick out any album that you want. Because they were like $6.99 back then.
Yeah.
And sometimes too. But I always zoomed right for the Anne Murray section because Anne Murray was my hero, or the Carpenters, But he built up my whole record collection. And such a generous man. And he was so quiet. He'd like this. He would come and he'd sit and talk to Mom, and we would pull in his ears, and you guys when you're little would sit in his lap, and I guess he kind of felt like being like a male relative, he had a responsibility to make sure that we were okay.
And he actually,
very noble guy.
kind of, not that he looked a lot like Dad, but you could definitely tell.
Family resemblance. Yeah.
Family resemblance there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And he loved us. He really was interested. He loved, when we sang to him, when we performed.
Guitar singer.
Guitar Zan. Every visit. He never got tired of it. But he died, I guess, in early 80s. And they told him to stop drinking. because it was affecting his heart or his blood pressure or something. And he
did.
Well, he did.
He did for a while.
He did for a while. But I think he still had just a little drink now and then. But he ended up in hospital, and he never did marry Margaret.
No.
Which I always felt badly about, because they were in love. They were such a lovely couple. Anyway,
but yeah, he went down
Uncle
east that summer and started drinking again with the buddies, and came back. And that fall, he died because.
See, we know different parts of different stories.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't know that.
We wish so much that our mom was still with us, or even our grandparents, to fill in. We have so many questions.
That's right.
That you don't think to ask, right? When you're growing up, right?
Right, exactly.
And now there's so many holes to fill that will never be filled, unfortunately. Right. So we'll just make it up.
Well, a lot of it comes back to Mom's old boyfriends, because she also dated a wrestler. Can't think of his name, but he was he would pop into our lives every now and then, and he was married. They'd moved on. Remember him? Bill Finley.
That's it.
Yes. And he would tell he was very much infatuated with Mom. Like, when he used to come and visit, it was just like, okay, come on strong much? It's just like, back off. Aren't you married?
And his son, he would bring his son once in a while. Oh my God, who was like his doppelganger. Like, oh my gosh.
Well, he was a professional wrestler, and he would get the brothers in holds and flip them, and tell us how the secret behind the terrible things we saw that weren't so terrible, and it's all acting. And so he spoiled a lot of secrets. But he would come. Gosh. I mean, Mom got out. She got.
Well, then there was Ken and Dodie.
And
another
they were
boyfriend.
From
Dartmouth, and Ken was an old boyfriend.
God. Wasn't
Bill Finley also Dad's best man?
No, that was the cop, Ron. Not Ron. Don Pogue.
No.
Yeah. I think. Well, maybe, I don't know.
No,
maybe
Bill
he was my
Finley,
godfather. I'm getting it confused.
Bill Finley was Dad's best man, because he's from down east.
I have no response to that. Yeah, you're right.
Because if Dad's family, no one attended the wedding because Dad converted to
Anglican.
Right. So I guess he needed one of Mom's boyfriends to stand in.
Hey, you. No hard feelings. Hey, come stand here. Well, and the whole thing about Dad converting, back then it was like a sin, because he left the faith, and people were doing rosaries for him. I found this out because we met Cousin John while I was going to seminary, and so was he. We discovered we were cousins. We didn't know, and he told me a lot about what happened after Dad left and came to Toronto and married Mom. And, they really grieved for him. And his mother, 2 weeks before they were to be married, had a heart attack and died, because she was so grief-stricken. Her heart was broken, right?
Yeah.
And that was, I think, the cause of her death, that she was just so brokenhearted. And, and he went down for the funeral and was not allowed to go into the cemetery because he wasn't Roman Catholic.
Well,
that's old school religion, but that still happens in so many.
Well, I heard too, like growing up, if you're a Catholic in Cape Breton, if you were about to cross in front of a Protestant cemetery, you had to cross the street.
Yeah, you couldn't walk on the same side.
No.
And they were getting into brawls, they get in fights against, the Anglicans and whoever else was not Roman Catholic. But that was the way it was back then. That was that kind of religious separation. And when we met each other, John and I, in school at seminary, he was going to St. Mike's, I was at Trinity, and our Christology teacher, the class that we figured it all out, used our story for all the classes after that about how religion divides, but how God brings families back together.
Yeah, that's nice.
Because John was like my bestie for decades, until he kind of became more conservative and not so liberal. In college, we were just rebels, and he was too. But, I regret that, because the last few years of our lives, we really didn't talk. I guess he couldn't have a Catholic archbishop in his friends list, a woman. It would not be good.
Not be good. No.
Anyway, we're up to 29 minutes here.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
And we didn't even touch on Ellen Frank, who were
Oh my God.
the greatest neighbors anyone could ever ask for. These men, they deserve a whole podcast because
Yes, they
they were. You talk about shaping our lives. Like they Grampy and Grammy made our Christmases, but they made sure that we were never without.
That's right. When I think back on those times, it was so filled with people, and all they did was care for us.
Yeah.
There was no worry about offending, or they just loved us the way we were.
And the special people that came in and picked up, and without being asked, they were just there, and
They're just there.
shows the love that,
And they kept
as
Mom.
Deb said, that they had for us, and which I think they regretted that it took this to come in.
I heard them say that, and they were there not only for Mom, but to honor Dad. And they saw that as their way of stepping in and stepping up and helping out. So that can't be traded. That experience. It's a richness, and I'm sure that a lot of you have had that happen in your own lives. People showing up and being there for you, and that's a real blessing. We give thanks for all them.
Yes.
We
All
keep
right.
talking.
Well,
we keep
with
talking.
that, we should say
the podcast keeps getting longer. So,
well, if you hung in this long, thank you for listening once again.
We'll make the next one 15 minutes.
I don't think that's possible.
I don't think it is either. But we'll try. Until next time, thank you for listening to Just Beachy. Bye.
Bye-bye.